DRG versus Classic. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gresson, we have the Ragnarok Slayer himself showing us just a masterful performance in ZvZ earlier today. We have South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos and SOS. It is DRG. The one true dong himself. Meanwhile, spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Oh, can we do predictions? Hold on. I don't have too much time. I'll do my best because it's a qualifying match. It does make sense to have predictions for this. As a reminder, this is a best of 3. Best of 3, not a best of 5. So bear that in mind. You will not have too much time to place your bets, so good luck. Good luck in your predictions. Is it going to be Classic or is it going to be DRG? Classic has been on the up and up. I would argue that he is the second best Protoss player in Korea right now. Alongside Hero, Classic has been, so on point. When it comes to Classic's recent accolades, he actually beats Raynor 2-1. He did 2-1 Raynor this weekend. In the Africa TV Champions Cup in the group stage. In the earlier rounds in the group stage. He did eliminate Raynor from that tournament. So Classic, he's pretty terrifying. Definitely a pretty terrifying player. But likewise, DRG is no slouch either. He's got momentum going his way. Already took down Ragnarok. And he go the distance. So far, hatch gas pull from DRG. Nothing too crazy. Pretty standard opener from our Zerg player. Likewise, across the map, Classic going for a gate expand. Economic as well. But more than anything, Classic, he's shown us that he is willing to mix up his builds. He's going for a Stargate opener on Gressvan. Makes plenty of sense. The last time I saw Classic on Gressvan, it was a late game ZVP, Skytos. Also, we'll see if we head in that direction again. Personally, I hope not. I've already had 1 hour-long game today. It's brutal. For those wondering, this morning we were casting Solar in a ZVP. It was Solar versus Nightmare on Dragon Scales. It was 58 minutes. We were 2 minutes off from an hour. 2 minutes off, and I was dying. I was already so tired. I was casting off of 4 hours of sleep, and in an hour-long ZVP where for a good 30 minutes nothing happened, it was brutal. Let me tell you. Ay. It almost killed me, Papi. It almost killed me. It almost killed Solar, actually. It did kill Nightmare. Anyway. We are getting into this. Check out the VODs if you're interested, if you want to tune into the madness that was ESL Open Cup Americas this morning. It was painful. As Classic is headed towards his third base, so again, everything's looking normal. Stargate opener into a third, into a second, and soon, I imagine, to be a third Oracle. Everything looking as it should be. Looking as it should be here as we're working on that Evo chamber. DRG going to be going into a very fast +1 melee, which makes plenty of sense, especially against a Blinkstalker or a standard style here from Classic, the hero style, if you will. It's been a while since I've called it that. Going up against the hero style, we do have a second Evo. Oh, it's not. Evo chamber thrown down to save the drone. Oh, but these oracles are getting quite a bit of damage here. Oh, 2 drones do go down. There is no WCS game heart, as a reminder. So we will have to count the drones ourselves. Hopefully we don't miss any. As the Adepts, they take down those first two tumors. Have the third Oracle diving into the main base as well. The Adepts so far are being kept up with. We do see DRG able to, again, stem the tide here and slow down the damage. In the main base, we have a Spore. We have one Queen as well. DRG does swat away the Oracle. Oh my god! Up! Oracle taking a lot of hits. The Stasis Trap is going to finish it. Will. Oh my god. We just barely didn't have the DPS to get a kill on the Oracle. Down to 16 HP. Massive Stasis Trap goes off. At the same time, we have two Oracles diving into the main. No Spore in position. DRG is losing too much. 6 drones. 6 drones go down. And a massive Stasis in the main. Oh, DRG being pulled apart. But again, that was really close. That was really like, a couple more shots. A couple more hits and that Oracle would have died. DRG gambling. Behind this, it is not Blink. We're going for +1 and charge. Robo, Temple Archives on the way for Classic. He's going for the 1-2 punch as the Oracles get even more damage done. DRG is being punished for skipping his spores. It's something that a lot of top tier players do. They actually avoid their spores in their mineral lines just because they believe they can keep up with their queens just to be efficient. And there are a lot of queens in position, but that didn't stop drones from falling. Did not stop drones from going down. Archons are being morphed in. So I assume that Classic would go for a big timing here with his first 2 Archons and with charge lots. But Classic is actually taking up into robotic space, so he's working towards soon-to-be Colossus and Disruptors. This push is still going to be terrifying, though. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, there's no Roach Warren. There is no Roach Warren. We only have a Lynx to defend. So this push has a lot of potential. We are up to 8 gateways back at home. Oh boy, no Banelings are ready for this. This could do some devastating damage. We do have a lot of Queens, thankfully. The Queens are really the backbone of DRG's army right now. As else they close the distance, the Lings, they do get us around on those Archons. Good positioning here from DRG. Ooh, the Archons go down just in time. The Prism shows up a little bit too late, and DRG is going to be able to clean this up, or will he? We have another warp in of Zelt. Imagine if the Archons were saved. Imagine if they had survived. GG gets called. It's too much anyway, and Classic takes game number 1. GG. Even with a good surround, even with killing those Archons, it still wasn't enough. There were no Banelings, there were no Roaches, and DRG was hurting. He was dying earlier from all that economic damage. It all was just too much, snowballed out of control, and Classic takes game 1. Let's go. Let's get into our next game. Oh, the chat's getting rowdy. Here we go. We're getting into our next game. Again, there's a fine line, right? It's like a lot of Zerg players, to be efficient, they skip out on spores to preserve their drone count and be greedy and cut corners. And sometimes they can get away with it as long as their queen positioning is good enough, as long as their army movement is good enough. We saw there that DRG barely wasn't able to keep up with Classic. Oh, did pay a big price for it, and that was the beginning of the end. It was the 1-2 punch. Classic was able to close it out with that Archon push, the Charger Archon timing. And now we're getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Babylon, we have our South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos alongside SOS, the Penguin himself. Looking to tie up this series to win this game to force the ace match, it is DRG. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss representing his new team Twisted Minds, 1 game away from advancing on into the main event from qualifying for the Masters Coliseum. It is Classic. Oh, one of the best Protoss in the world right now. Classic just showing off what he can do with a handful of Oracles. Here on Babylon, we'll see what he has in store for us. Again, Classic, he is not a predictable player. You know, he does like to mix things up, does like to vary things up in his series. DRG, can he keep up here with his opponent? So far, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener from DRG. Nothing too crazy. Gas is taken and the spawning pool as well. Meanwhile, back at home, Classic setting up for a gate expand as well. A very economic opener from Classic. Is going to be getting into the mid game here, or getting into our openers. Now we'll see what the tech of choice is going to be. Babylon is a much smaller map compared to Greswan. The rush distance is shorter. Because of that, these ground-based pushes can be quite impactful here. I wouldn't be surprised if Classic decides to switch things up and go for something like a Twilight Council opener. It is definitely possible. We have seen that before. On this map as well, we could even go for something like a Stargate opener into a Twilight Council behind it. As we skip out of the Oracles and we go for something like Glaive Adepts. That is how Classic did defeat Raynor only a couple of days ago. So we'll see. I mean, this pylon positioning is a little bit further back, but it is still going to be a Stargate from our Protoss. So everything's still looking normal. Everything's still looking standard. Likewise, DRG able to get his natural up and running. Is working towards his third. And I think Classic is going to get eyes on that. No, he's going to be forced back by those Lings. DRG is just scouting around the edge of the map, making sure that his opponent isn't being too crazy. To be fair, Classic, he has mixed in a couple of proxies in PvZs before as well. He is more than willing. There we go. More Oracles are on the way. Yeah, because of the additional Oracles, this should just be a third base to be taken from Classic. We should be working towards a Twilight Council and a Forge as well. Oh, so we're calming down, Bob. We're calming down. And I want to see what DRG has to offer here. If you remember last time, he went for a much faster Evo Chamber to get into +1 melee. So far, he's not really going that route. I was talking about how, because the rush distance by ground, like, players can be a little bit more aggressive, and that applies to the Zerg as well. That does apply to DRG. We have actually seen him go for all-ins on Babylon before. Specifically, Ling Bane Bus. We have seen Roach all-ins as well. I believe we were casting DRG in ESL Masters Summer a month ago at this point. So we were lucky enough to cast him during that event. Live, of course, live. But there is that Evo Chamber. A little bit later from DRG this time. Oh, meanwhile, Classic. I was really curious. He does work up towards 3 Oracles again, but he's going for a Robo first instead. Very interesting. So Classic is going to be delaying his upgrades. He's going to be delaying a charge or blink or, you know, what have you, in favor of this can go into faster disruptors with the Robotics Bay. This can go into fast Immortal production as well. I'm really curious as to what this is going to be for here for Classic. As he throws down 2 Twilight Councils. I think that's an accident. But there are 2 Twilight Councils on the way. There's no way that's intentional, right? No shot. No way he goes for like a double upgrade timing as the Oracles dive into the natural. This time there is a Spore. Oh, we're able to fend these Oracles away. Only 3 drones go down. And we're actually going for a fast War Prism, so we're going to be very aggressive here with vanilla units. Before that can happen, the Lings have arrived. Going to be slowing it down and pick up a couple of these probes. Meanwhile, it is going to be charged and Archons once again from Classic. Unfortunately, I do think that was a mistake, the second Twilight Council. So, no double upgrade timing, unfortunately. Feels bad, man. I'm pretty sure that Twilight Council was supposed to be the Forge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be the Twilight Council and the Forge, so delayed upgrades here from Classic, a little bit of a mistake. that is going to slow him down. A Prism is moving out across the map. I imagine looking for some vanilla Adept Harass. Oh, actually, no. We're going for an Archon drop. Okay, this is very well timed here. As the Templar Archives is done, Archons are being morphed in. I love these delayed Archon drops. Like, they're so... They catch the Zerg players so off guard. Just because Archon drops are typically associated with DT openers. This is so much later. The Archons dip into the main base. Roaches do come out of those eggs in time, but damage is being done. 3 drones go down. Meanwhile, we do see DRG actually going for a fast infestation pit. Infestation pit's on the way. Baneling Nest as well. With this fast pit, we can go into a fast hive, and there we go. Hive is already on the way. At the 7-minute mark. And that will grant him access to one of the more useful units here for Zerg, and that is going to be the Viper. Vipers, they help shut down these high-tech units with their abductions, blinding clouds, power bombs. Vipers are amazing. They're beautiful. But before that happens, before we can get there, oh, a massive Zealot run-by is going to hit the 4th base of DRG. Queen goes down. No drones. The Lings are going to be able to clean this up. But the Archon Harass doesn't stop. He wants another Queen. We go for another massive warp-in. Can we get on top of the Queens? The Lings are busy. Oh, and this is going to be a big loss here for DRG. Does get a kill on one of those Archons. We can see Classic. He wants the hatchery, and he is going to get it. There's not enough energy for Transfuse. The base goes down. DRG is hurting quite a bit here. And throughout all of this, we have Disruptors on the way. 2 Disruptors being chronoed out at a time, or being built at a time. DRG can barely keep up with the Archon Harass. Oh god, the Zealots, they just don't stop. So even though DRG has an army supply advantage, it's a little bit of a... It's a little bit deceiving. Roaches are inflated supply. We get a good cleanup here on these Zealots, but the Archons, they come back in, and was that another kill? Okay, it was a cancel. Thankfully, it was just a cancel. But even if DRG tried to counterattack, they would just run into a wall of Disruptors. Like, the Roaches, they wouldn't really be able to do too much. But that's where the Vipers come in. Here we go. Vipers are now on the way. We have range upgrades, Hydroden. This does, or this should be for something like Lurkers. Transitioning into a Hydro Lurker Viper would make a lot of sense for DRG. But can he get there? The other question becomes, do we have an answer to the Vipers? Typically, High Templar feedbacks are what you want from the Protoss. Or a good Stalker count, I should say, as well. Blink is done for Classic. Working on his 4th base, now fully operational. Classic close to maxed out. Even mixing in a couple of Immortals as well, just to really secure his army. He does run into Lingbane. He has to be very careful with these Disruptors. Has to be careful not to get surrounded. Meanwhile, the Archon drop. Still. Such a thorn in DRG's side. Lingbane moving out for DRG. Going for a massive counterattack. Classic is out of position, by the way. Oh, no shield battery does force a recall. But before that happens, 14 probes go down. Ay, ay, ay. The recall only saves a handful of probes. Meanwhile, across the map, to be fair, once again, Classic denies the 5th. Ay, ay, ay. DRG, he just wants a hatchery. Let him expand, Poppy. Let him expand. Ay, ay, ay. Meanwhile, I think we only have 2. Yeah, we still only have 2 Vipers. For DRG. They have hit the field. Baneling run-by being set up as well. This time, Classic is prepared, though. This time, he rebuilds his stack defense, cannons, shield batteries, even a couple of stasis traps. But DRG's focusing on his main push. The Vipers have arrived. Do we see the abducts? Oh! We do get one. Oh my god, we only get one Disruptor. The other gets a massive connection on the Banelings. With the death of that Baneling army, there are only roaches left. At the same time, we do have a Baneling run by, but no, they are stopped by the stasis traps. DRG is forced back. Again, that was a massive connection on those Banelings. Behind this, the Lunkers are on the way. Oh! As 10 more probes do go down. DRG sending out another Ling run by. Yeah, DRG just trying to transition into Hydra Lurker Viper. These +2 Lings with Adrenal do take down that cannon. Adrenal, right? Yeah. Adrenal Glands is done. DRG rotating over towards the left-hand side. Despite the fact that he has a lot of creep here on the right, it looks like he has recognized the positioning of Classic. He smells weakness. Very little stack defense, and this base is going to go down. Classic once again, and not quite in position. Gets caught completely off guard. And the Nexus itself is going to go down. At the same time, Classic trying to slip into the main base. He does avoid the Spore, but the Queens have arrived, and this Prism isn't going to be able to do too much. Well, it is cleaned up. Lurkers have arrived, Vipers as well. Classic being spread a little bit too thin. Oh, the Stasis. The Stasis, no! Stasis will connect on the Lurkers. Big connection. But we still may have too much. Immortal does go down. Lurkers are being forced back. Oh, Ling's going for a run by instead, but looks like Classic is going to be able to clean them up. Can he shut down these Lurkers? It looks like he should be able to. Gets one. We'll barely get the second as well. Good pick us from Classic. He is still keeping up for the most part. DRG finally gets his 5th base up and running. Classic on 4 bases mining right now. He may be forced to expand here on the right-hand side instead. This creep is being cleaned up. We actually never remade disruptors. I don't know how I feel about this. We only have 1 disruptor for Classic. It goes off, but it does get abducted immediately. Ling Hydra pushing on forward. How many Lurkers do we have? We have 5 Lurkers. Not too many, to be honest. And we can see that DRG, he's zoned away from his top right-hand base. Yeah, this hatchery is going to be going down. At the same time, DRG is going to try and go for a counterattack. The hatchery will fall. The workers as well. The counterattack, though, the Lings, they do break into the natural. They depower the production. Classic forced to turn all the way back around. Robos are going down. No more disruptors are going to be out here. Lings, they get into the main. So much damage is being done. Second Robo falls. This counterattack, this run by for DRG, it may just win him the game. He's repositioning here in between the bases. The Lurkers, they find a beautiful position here outside that 3rd. Can we push in? Oh my god, the blinding clouds are real. So many Lurker shots are going off. The Immortals, they can't really do too much, but they are cleaning up the Lurkers. Oh my, it doesn't take them too long at all. The Immortals annihilate the Lurkers. But the natural base has fallen. The main base barely mining as well. Lings, they do flood in. Classic loses all of his Robo production. Even might lose his Templar Archives as well. Oh my god. As he barely holds onto it. Barely holds onto the Templar Archives. Meanwhile, the Ling counterattacks, they just don't stop. DRG has too much momentum. Does force a recall, but probes are dying anyway. Oh no, we recall the Immortals? Not like this. The Immortals are gonna go down. Mate, we have an ace match. We're gonna get an ace match. The Immortals do fall. GG gets called. And DRG takes game number 2. Forcing game 3. Let's go. Let's go. Initially, things weren't looking too bad. Things weren't looking too bad at all for Classic. It was keeping up, but in one swift move, the Ling counterattacks, the Baneling run-bys were doing so much for DRG. Was fighting back so hard. Multiple times, Classic just wasn't in position. Or I shouldn't say wasn't in position, but his fringe bases were exposed. So he had very little time to react. If you remember, the first time there was a run by at his 4th base, there were only cannons, no shield batteries, which means no overcharge. The second attack, shield batteries were ready, overcharge wasn't ready either. Like, DRG, he just kept punishing how little defense there was at that southern base. And even at the natural, we saw that there was no shield battery, right? That's why the wall was broken so quickly and so easily. There was very little at home to defend. That is probably the biggest weakness of Classic. It's something that we have taken notice of in a lot of his PvZs, is because he's so aggressive. Ideally, he wants the Zerg player to be stuck at home, and he does typically cut corners in his defense back at home as a result. And DRG takes full advantage of that, and now here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. It is DRG. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Yeah, more often than not, Classic, he will skip and avoid cannons and shield batteries and leaving units behind to defend as well in favor of aggression. And that makes him a scary player because it means that his pushes are that much more potent as a result. But as we saw, he can be caught off guard and he can be pulled apart if you are fast enough, if you are vigilant enough. So really good counterattacks from DRG. Did win him the game in the end. And now we're here in the ace match. This is going to be the final game of the qualifier of the broadcast. It all will end here, one way or the other. As we do see DRG going for a hatch gas pool, very economic opener. Economic here from him. See in the chat, how did DRG come back? I mean, to be fair, we just went over it, so it's all good. Did just go over it. But yeah, now we're here in the ace match. Hopefully both players can kind of shake it off in the end. Shake off the nerves, shake off what happened so far in this series. And now it all comes down to this. Also, I am starving. I have not eaten today. Period. Oh god. The worst part about casting this late is that after the cast, I'm like, of course, I want to get something to eat, but it's so late here in Australia. There's nothing open. So may have to make some ramen after this. May make some ramen. Uh-oh. As Classic is going for a Stargate opener as to be expected. DRG is making a bit of a Ling flood here. Not too many, but more than is normal. Gonna be a little bit active with these Lings. Gonna shut down the probe. Gonna move that across the map. His goal here is to avoid the Adept, to slip in and to get a full scout of the main base, and DRG should be able to pull this off. For those wondering, at the highest level of play, it's very common for the Protoss player to skip out on walling off in favor of tech. Ooh, DRG, he wants some probes as well. Bit of a greedy move, doesn't quite get them, but he does force some lost mining time, slips into the main, and confirms the Stargate opener, as well as the Oracle Force as well. Ooh, DRG losing one of those Lings. Across the map, Adept does slip in, and one drone goes down. Uh-oh. Almost gets a second. DRG just getting a little bit punished for not having all of his Lings back at home. Does lose the drone. But at least he confirms the build and confirms the opener. As the Lings are going across the map. Just going to be scouting, just going to be delaying the third base if possible. We do see the first Oracle diving into the main as well. The Queen is in position. There's only one Queen, but about to be a second. And with two Queens, we should have enough to fend this away. Oh, Classic though, he doesn't care. He gets 3 drone kills. Takes a lot of hull damage, but does get those drone kills. He's going to be able to back off, regenerate those shields, and meet up with the second Oracle. We have a third one as well. which again is pretty normal, pretty standard. We have 2 oracles that can one-shot drones, and we have a 3rd oracle to protect the 3rd base from any kind of Ling harass or Ling run by. Classic is going to be well set up for this. Meanwhile, another drone does go down, but this time the queens have arrived. There may not be a spore in the 3rd base or the natural, but this time DRG doesn't get punished for it. Hopefully. There we go. As we have 3 queens in both bases. So again, DRG being a little bit greedy here by skipping his spores, but so far he hasn't been punished for it. So far. Hopefully that remains to be the case. We don't want a repeat of game 1. That would be disastrous. There we go. Spores now being thrown down. Oh, but the oracles, they dive into that 3rd. 4 more drones go down. You can see that with 3 oracles, you can still dive in. 3 queens is not enough. Not enough to deter the Protoss. And yeah, from here, we just see Classic backing up. He's transitioning into Blink +1. This is actually, now that I think about it, as the Oracles try to find more damage, now that I think about it, this is the first time that Classic is going for Blink this series. So far, every game has been going for some variation of Charge Lot Archon. This is the first time where he's going to be more heavily aggressive with Blink Stalkers, and I'm very curious how many gateways are we going to be seeing. Dragon Scales is not a bad map to be hyper aggressive with a 3-base all-in. The rush distance by ground is very short. You can set up proxy pylons and proxy locations as well. So that's kind of where my mind lies right now. As this is the 7th gateway about to finish up. Looks like Classic is getting ready for... he's going for the all-in. He's setting out his probe. The goal here is to set up a proxy pylon. So it looks like there's going to be 8 gates. You can go up to 9 gates off of a 3-base economy. You can sustain that. Oh, the Lings are moving out. Can they deny the pylon? Up! Oh, not quite. Classic even throws down a 2nd pylon just in case. Yeah, he's committing here to a 3-base all-in. Pure gateway units, pure Blink Stalkers. Oh boy. This is about to get intense. Now, DRG is cutting workers pretty early on. He's only on 60 drones. He's making nothing but Lings. Thankfully, he has a Roach Warren, so Ling Roach is going to be here to defend. A lot of this is going to come down to how well Classic can execute this. Meanwhile, once again, no shield battery. No shield battery, no overcharge, just like the last game. Very little here to protect this 3rd base. The Ling counterattack is going to annihilate everything. And that is going to make this all-in that much weaker. 14 probes go down. Ay, ay, ay. And you may be thinking like, he's all in. Does he care about his economy? Yes. I mean, you need a good enough economy to actually support all these gateways. We need to be able to warp in. Ooh, as we get a full surround, the Stalkers are falling. The Queens are diving on top of this. A slow warp in the gateway just wasn't ready. And DRG is shutting this down. Ay, ay, ay. Classic, he had such a strong start to this game. Sorry, to this series. But here in game 2 and now in game 3, DRG is camping the production. Classic doesn't have anything left. GG gets called. And DRG takes the series 2-1 and qualifies for the Masters Coliseum. GG. DRG identifying ahead of time that his opponent was going for the 3-base all-in as he saw the pylons in the center of the map. Instead of trying to shut down those pylons, he goes for a massive Ling counterattack instead. There was nothing at home to defend, or very little to defend, as Classic is crippled economically. And yeah, with that, he couldn't really sustain himself. He couldn't really commit as hard to that all-in as he would have liked to. DRG, again, getting prepared ahead of time, shuts it down. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Oh, congratulations. And with that, we have our 2 qualified players. As we switch our scenes over. Hold on. As we switch our scenes over, GG, well played. Congratulations to DRG and Nightmare for qualifying for the Masters Coliseum number 6. They qualify over Classic and Gumiho. Both qualifying matches went to the ace match. went the distance. Every one of these players is deserving to be a part of the main event, but, you know, we are limited. We are limited to only a handful of players, so my condolences to Gumiho and Classic. But again, they have another chance. There isn't another Korean qualifier, but there is a global qualifier. There is a global qualifier on the horizon in a couple of days, so they will have another opportunity to come back and to qualify for the main event. Let me just double check. So we have the NA qualifier on Friday. European qualifier is tomorrow. And I'll have to double check when the global qualifier is. But yeah. With that, GG, well played. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Just to round it out and just for some context as well, bam, this is the main event. The Masters Coliseum number 6. It's been a couple of years since we've had a Masters Coliseum. As we scroll up, it's a hefty prize pool. It is 40,000 USD. 40,000 USD is the prize pool for this event. It's massive. It's insane. It dwarfs Home Story Cup or anything like that. And these are the invited players. Oh boy. From the side of the Protoss, we got Creator, we got Hero, Firefly, Max Pack, Showtime. Likewise from Terran, we got Bjorn, Clem, Cure, Maru, Oliveira, Ryang, Spirit, Dark, Raynor, Serral, and Solar. If you're wondering, where did these invited players come from? From the standings. I mentioned it earlier, but throughout the course of this season, tournaments like Kung Fu Cup and World Team League, they have been providing points to players depending on their performance, depending on their placement, on how well they have been performing. That's why whenever we cast WTL, even when it's like a 4-0, we say that the additional matches still count because they do provide points for the players that win to help them out in the Masters Coliseum. At the time, we didn't know that it was going to be called Masters Coliseum. We knew that it was a tournament. We didn't know what, though. We didn't know what event it was going to be. So, yeah, now we know. Now we know that it's all been building up towards the Masters Coliseum, and yeah, we have our invited players. We also have our qualified players as well. You can see here, Cyan qualified yesterday. We casted the Asian qualifiers last night, which is China, Southeast Asia, Oceania, basically all the other Asian countries excluding Korea. And Cyan did qualify for the main event. Today is of course the Korean qualifier with DRG and Nightmare advancing on. And tomorrow is the European qualifier, EU qualifier, and we should be casting it. We should be casting it on this channel, so don't worry. Got plenty going on. We are going to be able to cover that tournament. From my understanding, I don't think we can cast all of them. I think we may have scheduling conflicts with the global qualifier, which is a shame. We should be able to cast the EU qualifier and the NA qualifier, but we may miss out on the global qualifier unless we're able to sort something out. So just bear that in mind. Regardless, hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Hope everyone had a great time. Our next broadcast is tomorrow. I just spoke about it, just mentioned it, but tomorrow is the European qualifier for the Masters Coliseum. So that's what we're going to be covering here on this channel. So stick around, or mark your calendars, and be ready for that. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Do appreciate the support. Shout out to Baby Ling, as earlier she did raid us, so thank you so much. Do always appreciate it. Gracias, papi, gracias. Always, always. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy yourselves. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. I already have my eyes on who it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun. So stick around for that. We're going to be sending our love over to Lorimbo, the Italian Zerg player. Yeah, good supporter and fan of the channel. Got a lot of love for Lorimbo. Meanwhile, before that, if you want to tune into more of the CranKy Ducklings, !socials in the chat. For links to our social media like Twitter, like Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We post whenever we go live on our channel, so if you want to be up to date, that's where you want to be. We have a Discord server if you want to interact with us outside of just the cast, and we also have a YouTube channel, !YouTube in the chat. So if you can't tune in live and you want to tune into the VODs, we upload on a daily basis over on YouTube. So we got you covered there. Outside of that, we also have a Patreon. We recently got a new patron, shout out as well. We are halfway there. You can see, actually, I'll switch our scenes over. You can see just under my lovely plushies, just under Classic's name, is our Patreon goal. We are halfway there. We are halfway to our goal of 300 USD a month. For those wondering, we host our own tournaments, and that is how much money we spend every month on our tournaments. And our goal on Patreon is to fully fund it, like from our community, like have a community funded event, or have our events be community funded, and to grow our events even further, to boost the prize pool, to pay out top 4 instead of top 2, for example, and maybe even have a monthly finals as well. So yeah, we got a lot of goals, or we have some ambition for our tournaments. Of course, we're still working our way there. We always appreciate all the support that we get on Patreon, and thank you so much to all of our lovely patrons. It does really help, a lot. We cast and we do this full time, and yeah, we're just doing what we can to give back to the players and to the community with our tournaments. So we're doing our best, So thank you so much. Thank you. With that, we are done. We are done for the evening. We're going to be heading off. I'm going to go get some food. I'm starving. I am starving. I don't think I have too much. I'm gonna just make some noodles, some instant noodles with an egg. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be some good stuff. So yeah. With that, hope everyone enjoys their night. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. If you want some more StarCraft today, we have another tournament starting up soon. I say we. Wardy is going to be casting the Wardy TV Summer Championship Group D. So head on over to Wardy's channel if you want some more StarCraft tournaments. It starts in half an hour, so still a ways off. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Give some love and support to Lorimbo, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.